Constitution and meet international judicial standards. We need to get the main groups in Iraq talking to each other again about how they can move forward.
But in this case, you agree with the need for a judicial process to take place? You don't think that is not necessary?
Again, we're not the judge and jury here. This is an issue that needs to be settled by Iraqis within Iraqi constitutional processes.
You said you've seen encouraging signs. What are those signs?
We've seen some Iraqis speak publicly about their desire for national dialogue, and a number of them are also expressing the same hope to us privately that soon after the new year they'll be able to sit down and settle this properly. Jill?
Iran?
Yes.
We have this ongoing now for a couple of days standoff with Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. There's been a lot of strident rhetoric coming from their direction. How does the U.S. really interpret what they are trying to do? How serious is this threat? We know what the U.S. says it would do, but why are the Iranians doing this?
Well, I can't get inside Iranian heads. I wouldn't want to, even if it were appropriate from this podium. But, you know, we've seen quite a bit of irrational behavior from Iran recently. One can only guess that the international sanctions are beginning to feel the pinch, and that the ratcheting up of pressure, particularly on their oil sector, is pinching in a way that is causing them to lash out. But beyond that speculation, I wouldn't be able to get inside their heads.
I have the question, please.
Sorry, let's Jill.
I just want to make sure, is there anything that the U.S. is doing right now other than those statements by the Pentagon saying what would happen should they actually try to do that? Are you talking to other countries about it? I mean, I'm sure you are, but is there any concrete action that the U.S. is taking right now in the event that something like that should happen?
Again, I think I'll let, as Mark has over the last couple of days, the Navy spokeswoman's comments speak for us on this issue, and simply say that we'd like peace and calm in the Straits over the...
I have two questions, please. First, the president of Iran will be in 4 Latin American countries in January, including Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Ecuador. Can you tell us about that? And the second question is, yesterday, the president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, said the U.S. may have created a new technology to induce cancer in a Latin American presidents who are enemies of the United States. What will you say to Chavez?
Well, first, with regard to the Iranian tour of Latin American countries, let me refer you to Iran and to the countries that the leader is visiting. Our hope and expectation is that these will increase the pressure on Iran. With regard to the Chavez statements, let me simply say that they are horrific and reprehensible. Thank you.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Pakistan.
Pakistan?
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Can you just get one more for Iran?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given these threats from Iran, how concerned is the U.S. with possible terrorist attacks toward shipping containers in the Straits?
Again, I'm not going to go any further on Hormuz. I think that our Navy spokeswoman spoke for all of us in expressing our expectation that the Straits will stay free and open for international navigation.
The
Pakistan?
President Zardari speaking on 27th, on the 4th death anniversary of Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto, made some allegations, like he said that he's not going to join the theater of war. Then he said Pakistan trade pacts will go ahead with the gas pipeline with Iran. Then he said that one which he really did hit US, he said tailor-made democracies are being planted in Arab world to show that democracies eventually will fail. What is the US reaction to the president of an ally country on this?
Well, Tajendra, I haven't seen what was said today, so I can't...
it was on 27th.
I just haven't seen it, so I'm not in a position to comment directly on it. More broadly, on the question of democracy movements in North Africa and the broader Middle East. I don't think anybody should question that these are grassroots indigenous movements by people who have long wanted more freedom than their government allows, have wanted what Pakistanis have, which is the right to elect their government.
Have we got any update on the NATO supply routes from Pakistan?
No, I don't have anything further on
Thanks.
Just a quick follow. Can you just update as far as a rift between Pakistani military and the civilian government, because Prime Minister Gilani told the parliament, Pakistani parliament, that he cannot accept, or it's not acceptable state within state, and he was referring to the military. It means there are two governments in Pakistan.
I think you're trying to draw me into internal Pakistani
No,
things.
I'm just
that are not
asking you any
appropriate.
update on Pakistan, that's all, whatever was going on in the last.
I don't have anything new on that.
Thank you.
Today, the Foreign Ministry in Pakistan acknowledged that there have been tensions in U.S.-Pakistan relations this year. So going forward, and in view of continuing tensions on the November 26th strike on Pakistani checkposts, which killed Pakistani soldiers, what are you looking at in the year ahead, next year?
Well, I don't think anybody on any side would question that 2011 was a difficult and complex year in the U.S.-Pakistani relationship. Obviously, what we want to do is turn the page, redouble our efforts to cooperate against the threats that we share, and to support a strong, prosperous, democratic Pakistan in an increasingly stable, peaceful, prosperous, democratic region.
One aspect of the U.S.-Pakistan relationship has been public perceptions, and I know you have been carrying out public diplomacy, but there is a feeling in Pakistan that U.S. has been criticizing Pakistan too much on too many issues, which prevented the civilian leadership and or the military leadership to overcome and address issues like the November 26th strike. So what do you intend to do to avoid such tensions, which from criticism, too much criticism, on many issues which were unrelated to Afghan war?
Well, as you may know, we put a huge amount of effort, both from our embassy in Islamabad and our consulates in Pakistan, as well as from this podium and Secretary's travels, to try to speak directly to the Pakistani people, to talk to them about the interests that we share, to make clear how much the U.S. government is trying to support the development of a strong, stable, peaceful Pakistan, free from terrorism internally, free from being a platform for terror. We put a huge amount of U.S. taxpayer money every year into education programs in Pakistan, micro-lending programs, flood relief, all kinds of economic opportunity programs, because we believe a strong Pakistan is in our interest. So we will continue to try to give that message directly to the Pakistani people, as the Secretary did herself in her town hall meeting and in her TV interviews when she was in Pakistan in October. And we believe that message needs to be conveyed strongly in Pakistan by Americans and by Pakistanis, that we need each other and that we have a lot of work still to do to build the kind of neighborhood there that it is in our mutual interests.
And one more quick.
Still on Pakistan?
On Pakistan, just quick one. And now India and Pakistan are talking on many various issues, including nuclear issues. Is the U.S. playing any role, or are you in touch with the India and Pakistan on this issue?
Well, I think you know that we've long encouraged direct dialogue between India and Pakistan, that we are encouraged that on this front, 2011 was a good year, that they made considerable progress together, and we want to see that progress deepened and strengthened in 2012.
Thank you.
Michelle? Everybody's in lavender today.
Sorry.
There's something about lavender. It must be here.
A Keystone question.
Yes.
Does the State Department see any possibility of approving this project in the new time frame that Congress has given you? Or is there a problem meeting the environmental laws, such as the National Environmental Policy Act?
was, well, as you say, Michelle, the Congress has given us 60 days to make a decision here. We are in the process of evaluating that legislation, but I don't have anything new to report today.
Can I go to Syria, please?
Yeah.
From this podium in the past, you've said that the U.S. believes that if monitors were in place, the Assad regime would not be able to do its worst. It does appear that the attacks do continue and that these monitors are playing a game of whack-a-mole. How concerned are you that this is not stopping the violence, and do you have any concerns about the mission itself, the monitoring mission itself, which has come under some criticism for having a somewhat muted response?
Well, first of all, we are concerned, as you point out, that even though we have monitors on the ground and they are playing a role in some places, we also have a continuation of the violence. For example, we've had reports of at least 10 people killed in Homs, Hama, and Idlib yesterday, even as the Arab League monitors were trying to deploy there. And we've had, violence in other parts of Syria. That said, if you go up on YouTube today, you can see great pictures of a democracy rally in Idlib that went forward with quite a crowd at the same time that the monitors were there. So clearly their presence appears to have provided some space for public expression. But what we want to see, as we've said from the beginning, is the monitors able to move throughout Syria to talk to anybody that they want to talk to, including political prisoners who are still locked up. We also want to see all the terms of the Arab League agreement implemented. So it's not only a matter of deploying the monitors, it's a matter of the Syrian government living up to its commitment to withdraw heavy weapons from the cities, to stop the violence everywhere, which clearly has not happened, to release all political prisoners. We've seen a modest prisoner release, but it appears that the most important high-profile political activists have not been released. And we also want to see Syria opened to the press. You may have seen that in recent days the Syrian opposition has been calling on international journalists to again try to apply for visas and to see what happens, to see if the Syrian government will live up to its commitment to open its streets more. So, unfortunately, violence continuing, Syrian regime still propagating violence against its own people, but in some places where the monitors have deployed, we see some positive signs, but not enough.
Okay, so two follow-ups on that. Do you believe that the monitoring mission will be enough to stop civilian violence against civilians? That's the first one.
Well, first of all,
that was your position prior. You said that this would be what was needed to stop the worst of the violence.
I think what we said was that if all 4 tenets of the Arab League proposal, that the monitors be allowed to deploy along with international journalists, that heavy weaponry be removed from cities and towns, that all the violence stop, and that political prisoners be released, I think we said that that would make a manifest difference in the situation in Syria for civilians and for the process of encouraging democratic transition, but that it was never sufficient. We believe Assad needs to go, as you know. But the monitors alone are not enough if the violence doesn't end, if the tanks don't come out of the cities, if the political prisoners aren't released from prison.
Okay, and then do you still have confidence in this monitoring mission, as there's been some criticism of its leadership?
Well, again, I think the proof will be in how they execute their mission. Are they active throughout Syria? Are they deploying throughout Syria? Are they strong in insisting that they have the access that they need to individual Syrians, to private citizens, to political prisoners? And how do they report their findings? So we want to see them active, and we want to see strong reporting.
Do you have any assessment of their job so far?
Again, I think they're on day 2
3.
of their deployment, day 3. So I think we're going to let this process continue.
Are you separate topic?
Still Syria?
Are you aware of a civil lawsuit?
One more on Syria. you don't mind.
Go ahead, Kurt.
There's been some reporting about the Obama administration considering more direct assistance to the opposition. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Well, I think we've always